Hey everyone, it's Nico. Sorry it's been so long. This is a bit of an unscripted video because I wasn't really planning on making it, but then enough kind of happened that I really needed to. So first, I want to apologize for my absence. I know over the summer I wanted to make more content, but then my computer kind of like killed itself, so I was unable to make anything, and then by the time I did get a new computer, I was already getting ready to go to college and everything, and then I did move, and then I hadn't actually gotten any of my new software installed, so I had to, reset up Audacity and OBS and all my editing software. But I finally did that, which is why you're now hearing me. But yeah, I do want to apologize about that. I'm hopefully going to make more content. I am working around having a roommate and all that now, but at the same time, I'm having a great time, and I really hope I can actually do more this year. Which, wow, I've said that like 17 times, but maybe this time it'll be for real. But anyways, I want to talk about the real meat and potatoes of why I made this video. As recording this, Hollow Knight Silksong came out about 4 days ago, and oh my god, it is amazing. I'm not going to make a review for it because I haven't recorded most of the game, because I didn't really think about that when I started playing it, but then I got to a certain area, and oh my god, I hated it so much I just needed to make a video about it because of how much I hate it. So obviously there is going to be a few spoilers for Hollow Knight Silksong, so if you don't want to be spoiled, here's your moment to click away. I will give you a few seconds. Yeah, it's not going to be like super spoiler heavy on like the story, but I will be talking about certain upgrades in a specific area, because duh. Alright, we good? Awesome. Welcome to my least favorite area in any video game, Bilewater. Now, Bilewater is an area you can access in Act 1 that can lead you to an alternate route to progress to Act 2. I'm not really going to go over it too much, but I would recommend highly checking it out because it has my favorite boss in the entire game so far in the exhaust organ. But that's a separate issue. You can deal with that later, but go fight it, it's amazing. And when you first end up in Bilewater, you can't really do much because you don't have the mobility upgrades to really be able to truly get there. So, during that initial section, it's really not that bad. However, you do get acquainted with what I consider to be the most annoying mechanic, what I'm going to call the infested state. I'm doing air quotes, but you can't see that. The infested state happens when you touch the water in Bilewater, and it's infested with maggots, hence why I'm calling it the infested state. But basically, what it does is it gives you a debuff that slowly eats away at your silk, which is your soul equivalent. And not only does it eat away at your silk over time, but when you initially get the debuff, it instantly takes away a piece of silk. Now, how do you clear the infested state? Either by binding, which takes a certain amount of silk, or by resting at a bench, of which there are like 2 in Bilewater. As you can imagine, since it actively takes away your silk, it's really hard to clear sometimes. But the thing is, when you bind to get rid of the debuff, you don't heal, you only get rid of the debuff, which means if you're low on HP and you have the debuff, you have to heal twice effectively in order to get any benefit out of healing. And this kinda sucks, because Silksong has a lot of damage. If you've played it, you know that a lot of enemies deal about 2 masks per hit, and this area isn't super different. Not everything does, a lot of things only deal 1, but there is just so much dog shit in this area that it kind of feels like it's a pain. But, at least in your first experience of Bilewater in Act 1, it's not that bad. But then, let's say you're like me, and you're just trying to explore and get all the maps and explore everywhere, you'll end up, during Act 2 probably, back in Bilewater, where you get to experience the worst section of the entire game so far, in my opinion. So, for one, you really do need 4 main movement abilities at this point. You need the wall cling, the double jump, the air float, and the needle throw. Now, obviously, you probably have the wall cling, and you probably have needle throw, ideally, but in order to even access this pain of an area, you need the double jump, and the air float just helps, but I'm gonna be real, I don't know if it'd be doable without it. And I guess you don't really need the needle throw either. I'm not really scripting this, so I'm just kind of like saying my thoughts as I think them. but it really makes it a lot easier, and I don't know if I would be able to make it through at all without my needle throw. I'm barely able to make it through with the needle throw. But ideally, I'm showing it in the footage at this point. You have this little area marked by Chakra's rings, which I kind of indicate where she is, so you know that where she is, so you can get the map. In order to even get to this, you need the double jump. And if you have the double jump, you probably already have the other 3 abilities. I don't know if the air float's ever actually needed, but it is super helpful to have. So let's talk about why I hate Bilewater so fucking much. Ideally, the map has showed up, and if you'll direct your attention to here, you will see where the bench pin is. And if you direct your attention all the way up here, you will see where the next bench is, which you don't know about, because where the game tells you a bench is, there is a bench, but then it collapses underneath you. I don't have footage of it, but it was one of the moments that literally made me go, I need to talk about how much I fucking hate Bilewater, because what the fuck? Now, admittedly, is the gauntlet that bad? No, but every time you die, you have to restart again from the beginning, and if you don't know how to deal with it, it is a pain to do. And honestly, I actually made it harder on myself by having the Sawtooth Circlet equipped, which gives my, whenever I flare out my cloak, it can deal damage around me, which is really helpful for combat, but it does also activate the fucking exploding bubbles sometimes, which can be a huge pain, but honestly, still kind of worth it. Now, mind you, because it's not always the most obvious where to go, I ended up exploring a lot of the area surrounding the upper section of Bilewater, trying to find where to go, and I ended up finding a lot of alternate paths that did not help me in the slightest. Is this partially my own fault? Yes, because obviously, you know, one time I ended up on a route that I was determined to go on because I kept dying, then I'm like, well, there has to be something here. It was just a fucking mask shard. Worth it because it was my 4th mask shard I needed for a new mask. However, it was a pain to deal with because you had enemies that would jump out of the water. I think I have footage of it, I don't know. I'll show it here if I do. But they would jump out of the water, and if they hit you with their mouse, they would grab you, dealing 1 damage, and then slam you into either the platforms or, more likely, the water, dealing another damage. And if they slam you into the water, you get the debuff, which means you can't even heal because you have to, you know, clear the debuff first, and then you can heal. And on the gauntlet itself, there's a lot of things that also deal 2 damage, specifically these big guys that you have to kind of work around. They're a pain to deal with at first, but they are workable. But huge pain in my ass, that's for sure. And then when you clear the gauntlet and you actually end up on the path you're at, and ideally you get that extra bench that's all the way here for some reason that you cannot access directly, or at least I don't think you can. I had to go around. You get this extra little boss run back to an arena that has some enemies. Now mind you, it spawns these stupid little guys that kind of jump in and shoot darts at you. I suck at dealing with them because I never learned how to deal with them while I was actively in Bilewater. But then, afterwards, the second part of the arena gives you new enemies you've never fought before, or at least I never fought. I had never seen them. And then, after you clear this arena, which honestly was a huge pain for me, because again, you have enemies that I'm not really good at dealing with that you probably haven't seen before, and you have the debuff, then you have to fight a boss afterwards. And every time you die, you have to re-clear the arena before you even get a shot at the boss. Now, is this just a skill issue? Probably. I'm notably very bad at video games, and I'm not very good at this one. So, is this my own, skill issue get good moment? Probably. However, holy shit, I hate Bilewater so much. But, I want to offer a few tips to anyone who is also struggling with this nightmare of an area. First one, do not waste your time with the extra bench, with the signed bench. Find the second one that's at the top in this area. It is so worth it. Second, these little guys respawn every time you enter the room. If you have the debuff or you need to heal, farm them for Silk. Number 3, get used to your movement. I default to what we had in Hollow Knight because that's what I'm used to, you know, the double jump, the wall cling, and the dash. However, I am begging you to start using your needle throw if you haven't started using it that much. It is insanely useful. It can get you to walls, it can save you from falling in the water, and if you hit an enemy, you do not only get 2 ticks of damage, but you do also recover the thread that you used to throw it. It's very important. Honestly, I don't think this area would be nearly as helpful, but it's also very helpful I don't think it's ever been doable, but I also think that the needle throw alone is helpful so much in combat as well. Number 4, I'm just gonna say, like, understand your silk and when to use it. Like, when do you heal? When should you be using your skills? Honestly, with this whole section, I need to be healing and needle throwing so much I don't even use my skills, even though I have the parry turned on, and that's a pretty good one. Number 5, ideally you're not too far in. Please come into this with 0 rosaries and 1 or 2 needle upgrades. I only have the 1, but I'm really considering getting the 2nd, but if I didn't have to go all the way back for it, I think I'd probably go for it. And then, one last little tip for the arena section, just take it slow. Just do whatever you can to not take damage, and if you do, you know, try to heal at, like, 2 or 3 heart, or it's missing. It's so difficult, but there's no time limit, so if you can just take it slow and play it safe, you'll probably win eventually. I'm still trying to beat the boss, so no really tips there other than just don't die. Also, make sure to use your tools. I personally have chosen the flint slate and the boomerangs, but it's really up to personal preference what you use in this area. I'd recommend maybe the plasmium injections if you have it, because extra health never hurts. But alas, as I find myself recording this in the middle of still trying to clear this area, I hate to say it, maybe I don't hate it as much anymore. I started recording this at like 9 in the morning, and I know it's only been a few hours, but in that time, I feel like I've really grown in Bilewater. Am I good at it? No, fuck no, I still haven't beaten the boss. Working on that part. I keep having to break up my audio recording sessions as my roommate bounces in and out, which is fun. However, in that time, I started to realize that maybe it's growing on me. I still hate the mechanic, don't get me wrong. The infested state, or whatever the fuck it's called, is the worst thing ever created. However, I'm starting to really like the platforming in it, and the arena still sucks ass, but as I get better at it, it's a little more bearable. I'm finding a little fun with it. But, anyways, that's gonna be the end of my rant. I really don't like Bilewater, but maybe it's not nearly as bad as I thought, but that's probably because I've gotten just so used to it. Area still sucks ass, though. Marvel Tokon beta was this weekend. I didn't get in, RIP. Not surprised, but whatever. 2XKO beta starts tomorrow. Definitely gonna be, you know, trying that out. Will I make a video on it? Who knows? Maybe not. I'm probably going to end up fighting my siblings a lot because they're my main fighting game partners, and I'm very excited to get teamed up on while I'm left by myself because, well, that's just how it goes. But anyways, I've been me. Have a good one, everybody. Go play some Hollow Knight Silksong. I'm very excited to beat this game. I'm genuinely considering speedrunning it. I know, Nico goes back to speedrunning again. Crazy. It might actually happen, though. Sorry if my voice sounds out of it. I think I'm starting to get sick, but you know, it is what it is. Shit happens. So, have a good one, everybody. Monster Hunter Wilds review will be out as soon as I finish fucking with Title Update 3, and if I ever get around to that full game playthrough, of the second full game playthrough, so I can review the story. But, I don't know. See you guys later. Hopefully it won't be too long. Streams might happen again soon, so watch out for that, I guess. Have a good one.